What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all I know you're gonna love because it involves a spoiled kid getting absolutely dumpstered by his mom. This story time was sent in to me by somebody who works in a restaurant, and this insanely entitled kid and his friends came in and were acting like morons, not realizing that their mom was around, and I guess mom was not down with the antics and ended up embarrassing them in front of absolutely everybody. But it sounded like something you guys would enjoy, so I figured I'd make it into a video. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, so like I said, this person was working in a restaurant, and it was a nicer restaurant, but on this particular day, it was like the middle of a weekday, so it was super slow. There wasn't a lot of people in the restaurant, and you know, a group of dudes walked in that were older, like 18, 19, 20-ish. 5 of them came in and like immediately started giving off super douchey vibes. But because it was super dead, you know, they were kind of like, well, we'll sit them and make a little bit of money because otherwise we're probably not going to have customers for a long time. But they were immediately giving off douche vibes because one of the first things they did once they walked into the restaurant was like toss a metal credit card at the host stand and then start tapping on it to get their attention. The host was kind of like, hey, how are they? You know, trying to make some small talk, ask them if, you know, they wanted to eat, hear how many were in their table. But the guy like completely blew off the questions the host was asking and was like, well, my credit card is metal, so I'm going to assume my day is going better than yours. And then like looked at his friends and laughed, which, you know, as far as first impressions go, is way up there in terms of like pretty douchey. The person trying to sit you at this restaurant, how's your day? You, I have a metal credit card. Like, oh, okay, man, that doesn't really answer my question, but whatever floats your boat. So immediately off rip, these guys are just kind of acting entitled. But because the restaurant is so dead, they're like just gonna deal with it. So they get sat in this waiter section who sent this into me. And at that exact moment, the waiter was just kind of busy doing something their boss had asked him to do. And they was gonna finish up in about 10 seconds. So they just decided to finish what they were doing and go over there. Well, in the 10 seconds it took them to finish their task and start heading over there, I guess they had gotten annoyed. And when they saw him walking over, the guy in charge of the table, you know, with Mr. Metal credit card, started literally like snapping his fingers to get the waiter to come faster, which is just really annoying, bro. Don't snap at people. The guy literally took 10 seconds to finish what he was doing. He's walking over. There's no reason to be like,
Come faster, please, Mr. Sir. Get over here.
that's just demeaning, dude. Don't snap at me. Anyways, obviously it pisses him off, but he goes over there and is trying to like be nice about it. And before he can even open his mouth, he smiles and they cut him off. And the lead guy who had snapped his fingers, thrown the metal credit card, the whole shebang so far, opens up with, all right, man, I'm going to talk slow enough for you to understand, okay? We need the most expensive champagne you have here. And he like had this metal credit card and he taps it on the table, right? And now this guy's straight up annoyed because he had walked over trying to be nice. They started snapping at him. Now they're like, we're gonna talk slow enough for you to understand, demanding that he grab the most expensive stuff. So he's not gonna try to like make small talk anymore, but if they want the most expensive bottle of champagne, it's kind of his job. So he says he's gonna need to see some ID. And the kid like smiles and goes, oh, ID? Here you go, and hands him the credit card. And the waiter looks down and is like looking at this metal credit card that this kid has given him, which is apparently his ID. And he's like, this is not an ID. And the kid's response is to like scoff a little bit and go, yeah, but do you have any idea how much money I could charge to that credit card? And the waiter is like, yeah, I bet you a lot. You know, it's very heavy. It's cool, but it doesn't really matter because I still can't sell you alcohol without an ID. It doesn't matter how much money you can charge to your card. And the kid's response is like, well, if you don't want to make money, that's on you, bro. And the waiter's like, it has nothing to do with me not wanting to make money, man. I just don't want to break the law and get in trouble or be fired. And he's like, well, whatever, man. It's fine. I get it. Just do us a favor then and get us 5 steaks. They better all be medium rare, okay? And like, you know, the waiter's like, all right, bro, okay, let's go from most expensive bottle of champagne to 5 steaks, whatever floats your boat, Mr. Metal credit card. And he writes it down, you know, and takes the order to the kitchen to drop it off. And he goes to take them water after that, and he drops off their water, and he's like, can I get you guys anything else to drink? And the douchey kid looks at him and goes, excuse me, dude, do you see that we're in the middle of a conversation? Can you just leave us alone, please? And once again, the waiter is like flabbergasted at how rude these kids are being, right? Just insanely entitled, just no reason to be acting like this. And so he walks away, and his manager walks up to him and is like, bro, what is the issue with these dudes? And he's like, honestly, I don't know, but I've never had more entitled customers before. Like, they're just telling me to leave them alone, snapping at me. They're not letting me talk. It's annoying. So the manager's like, all right, we'll just let them be till their food comes out. And like, you know, you won't have to deal with them for very longer. We probably shouldn't have sat them, but it's too late now. And so he waits a little bit. Obviously, the steaks eventually get ready, and so he takes it over, and they're like laughing as he's bringing the food over. And the spoiled kid is like, dude, you're actually a moron, man. We never told you that we wanted 5 steaks. And the waiter is like confused if they're trying to mess with him, if they realize they didn't have enough money to pay for it. Like, he didn't really understand what they were doing because they definitely had ordered it. And so he's like, well, you guys ordered it, so I don't really understand. And the kid's like, no, we didn't order it, dude. Can you even prove it? And the waiter is super confused, but is like, yeah, I can. And pulls out his little notepad and shows them where he had written it down, you know? And they're like, okay, fine, we ordered it. We were just trying to mess with you, bro. And he's like, oh, okay, that was really funny. You know, just like super deadpanned, obviously not amused by it because it's just not a very funny joke. I just don't really understand the joke there to just very obviously order something and then try to like convince them you didn't order it. Wow, bro, that's sick. No way. How'd you do that? I just said something and then just pretended that I didn't say it when you brought me what I asked for. Like, I just don't understand how it's a joke. But they follow up pretending that they didn't order the steaks by being like, well, they're cooked wrong anyways. Keep in mind, they haven't even had the food placed in front of them or taken a bite yet. They just know by looking at it that it's cooked wrong. And he's like, are you guys serious? And they kind of snap about how, yes, they're serious. This is supposed to be a nice restaurant. Who is he to be questioning them? They needed it to get fixed. And he's like, all right, guys, I'll go fix it for you, you know? And he smiles a little bit, and he's just trying to kill him with kindness, and he tells him he's going to get fixed. And he walks back into the kitchen, and just to decide to see if they're just being jerks for no reason, he just kind of like put it under this the lamps that keep food warm, stood there for 2 minutes, and then came back and gave them the exact same steak. Which, listen, I understand is not the most pro waiter move, okay? Probably not the most MLG waiter move. That being said, bro, if people were treating you like this and like demanding that you go fix their food when they haven't even tried it yet, I probably would be petty enough to do the same thing. I'm not saying I'm above this. But of course, he was just kind of testing to see if they were just trying to cause problems. So he goes and gives them the exact same steak. Oh, that's a tongue twister. Same steak. Sorry, my goodness. And wow, wouldn't you know it, somehow magically it's much better. And he's like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, you guys are just being jerks. It is what it is. Anyways, at that point, he goes away and is just going to let them eat and was just going to leave them alone and not deal with it. But he is just looking around the restaurant and he sees what appears to be a very angry woman walking up to the host stand. And they had a shift change, so now it's a hostess at the host stand. And she's talking to the hostess and looks super pissed off. You know, like really, really mad, red in the face, like the spit flying out the mouth. And the waiter is just like, wow, I don't know what this lady's angry about, but we're about to have a Karen encounter at the exact same time that these spoiled kids are here. This is crazy. But the hostess turns around and she doesn't look scared at all, so he's kind of confused. And then he sees the hostess point at the table which all these kids are at. And he sees the Karen like starting to stomp over, looking very angry, and she gets over to the table and starts yelling, "So you took my credit card to impress your friends, huh?" And all of a sudden, everyone at that table just turns as white as a ghost, bro. Like, their souls are literally leaving their body in that moment, you know? The imposter has been revealed among us. Oh, that was a corny joke. I'm sorry for making you guys listen to that. Anyways, but the mom keeps yelling at them like, "Why do you always do this? Oh, and you got everyone steaks. How nice." And she's reaming into him about how, you know, it's not okay for him to take the credit card and buy expensive stuff to impress people without her permission. And at this point, she is causing a scene. It's pretty dead. There's not a lot of people in there, but still, it's not a good look for the restaurant to have this screaming going on. So the manager goes over and asks what's happening. And the mom is like, "Well, it looks like my son stole my credit card and decided to leave and get his friend's lunch, hoping that I wouldn't notice." And the manager is obviously on the mom's side, because how could you not be? You know, like, I feel like taking your mom's credit card to buy all your friends food, already not a good move. Going to like a steakhouse to do it? Come on, bro. Like, 100% on the mom's side. It's just wrong to take anyone's money to pay for stuff. It's not yours. It's especially wrong to take your mom's credit card and buy everybody steaks, dude. And the manager tells the mom, which probably he shouldn't have, but he did want her to know, that like, oh, he also had tried to buy a $300 bottle of champagne, but he didn't have an ID. And at that point, this entire group just looks insanely embarrassed. They're all turning red, and the spoiled kid is like, "Mom, stop." And the mom pops off and is like, "Don't you dare tell me to stop. You need my credit card now. I'd be careful about talking back. You have $400 worth of food here and apparently tried to buy a $300 bottle of champagne. Why would you do that? You're not even 21. Like, you knew they were gonna ID you." And at that point, one of the other kids in the friend group is like, "Listen, I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it." Because obviously, everyone else is embarrassed. I'm not sure if they knew this dude had had taken his mom's credit card or not. I don't know if they thought that like it was his credit card, but obviously they're getting yelled at in the middle of this restaurant. Everyone's staring. So one of his friends is like, listen, I'll pay. Like, I'll pay. It's okay. I'll pay. And the mom's like, oh, at least one of your friends has a job. Maybe you should think about getting one of those too. If you had a job, you know, you wouldn't need to steal my credit card. And at that point, everybody's just like cringing watching this situation go down. And the manager decides to tell them like, okay, guys, like, come on, please don't yell in the restaurant. You know, you guys have to go. And she's like, all right, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a scene. And he's like, it's okay, but like, I'm going to have to ask you guys to go now. And the friend that had offered to pay handed the manager the credit card. So they paid. They didn't leave any tip, which, hey, bro, I feel like after you cause a scene like that, that's the least you could do is leave a tip. But, you know, as long as they were leaving the restaurant, nobody really cared. And so everybody leaves and all of his friends are gone insanely fast. They all get in their cars and leave. So it's just the mom and the kid outside now kind of talking on their way to the car a little bit. And everybody in the restaurant at that point is still watching them like through the window, right? And the staff starts laughing because it's just like, oh man, imagine how embarrassing, bro. Not only did you take your mom's credit card, but she catches you and yells at you in front of everyone. One of your friends has to pay. It's just a funny situation. So the staff is like laughing, right? Well, they're in front of the restaurant and the son turns around and looks through the window and sees everyone staring and the staff laughing, and he yells something. And then his mom looks back and she sees everybody staring and laughing, and so she waves and smiles, and the son starts like running to the car, so she turns and starts to follow him to the car. And so obviously it's a big scene. Everybody gets back to normal, gets all the other customers taken care of, but then everyone's like in the back of the restaurant talking, and everyone's just making fun of the situation, obviously. You know, it's like normal for people in this restaurant to come in acting like they own the place, or acting like they own the place, sorry. You know, oh, I'm so important, look at me, I'm blah, 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 I'm a lawyer, I'm da-da-da-da-da. Usually, you know, people do that on a daily basis. That being said, it's usually their credit card that they're trying to flex with. It doesn't matter either way. Whether it's yours or your mom's, still cringe. But at least they didn't steal their mom's credit card. This dude had really come in acting like he owns the place, bossing everyone around. And then his mom had to come in and destroy his ego because he had taken her credit card, bro. Double embarrassing. You know, he had already taken a large enough L, but somehow, ladies and gentlemen, the L just gets larger. Because, you know, remember, his mom had called him out for not having a job. Along with not having a job, he had taken his mom's credit card. So to solve a two birds in one stone type of problem, his mom decided she would teach him a lesson by making him go in the next day and show up at the restaurant with his resume to solve the problem of job, and embarrassing him so that way he learned to stop stealing her credit card, dude. The subscriber who sent this in to me wasn't there, but the manager was, and he took his resume at the front and was like, oh, well, why do you want a job? And the guy apparently wouldn't look him in the eye, sure douche a lot. He like would not look him in the eye, right? He literally was avoiding eye contact, and he's like, his mom was making him get a job because he needed to learn the value of money, and she had also said that he had to apply here, otherwise she was gonna make him move out. And at that point, the manager literally starts laughing at him because it's just like so cringe, right? He wasn't trying to make him feel bad, but the entire situation was just so absurd. Like, it is a good lesson, you know, but obviously they weren't gonna hire him after that one. I don't think stealing your mom's credit card is the best first impression for a boss, dude. What did you expect him to say? Go ahead and hop on the cash register? You're clearly not afraid of stealing from your mom. There's no way you'd steal from us. Like, I just don't think any manager's gonna hire you after that. Good luck. It is good that he's getting a job. I just don't know if that place is gonna be the place to hire him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a second chance, but you know, that's like a bank robber just going back and getting a job at the bank, only on a much smaller scale. He's not a bank robber. Now that would be a crazy story time. There's like a bank robber robbing a bank and his mom comes in and is like, you knock this off. That's my gun you're using to rob this bank. Anyways, obviously, you know, he went ahead and left after that once he was getting laughed at, which was not a bad idea, to be honest. I probably would have done the same, but the manager ends up telling the person who sent this in to me on the next shift what went down and just how awkward it was. And everybody to this day still laughs about it at that restaurant, and like, if anybody is kind of being embarrassing or entitled, they call him Metal Credit Card Kid, just because that story is just, you know, a pretty good way of describing how entitled some people be getting sometimes. Overall, I would say if you have a Metal Credit Card, good for you, you got the bands, but it doesn't mean you can just like do whatever you want, bro. Even if it's yours, man, you still can't do whatever you want, but you especially can't do what you want if it's your mom's credit card. Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, this is my mom's sick credit card. Isn't it pretty dope? Like, oh man, flexing mom's credit card is pretty cringe. I will say though, shout out to the mom for at least doing something about it. Making him go in and apply for a job there the next day is pretty genius, and hopefully dude learned his lesson. I feel like that level of embarrassment he had to have learned something from it. But yeah, anyways, guys, I think that'll do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please smash the like button, please. Okay, go press it. Okay, I'm desperate for likes out here, dude. And if you made it this far, go ahead and comment metal credit card. It just helps the video do better, and I would appreciate it. And other than that, if you're new, be sure to press that subscribe button. I post videos like this pretty often, so you never want to miss out. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and, you know, last but not least, if you want to listen to these story times offline without gameplay, whatever floats your boat, I do post the audio version on Spotify. Link will be down below, so feel free to go check that out. And yeah, on that note, guys, that'll officially do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.